All right, so we are ready to go. And Michael, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. One thing I do want to note is if you are on the line, please do not put us on hold. We'll hear your music or whatever happens when you put your phone on hold. And if you are in a room where there is, a lot of conversation going on, please do mute your phone. So thank you very much, Michael, and I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Well, thank you, and thank you everyone else for blocking some time out of your day to join us today. I don't know if any of you were fortunate enough to make some of the last two webcasts. But today, we just want to kind of bring both of those back together and come full circle around Sage Intelligence. So some of the things I want to cover just in general, what is business intelligence? How can it help your business? The solution itself, Sage Intelligence, what components do we have that make that up? And what are they used for? Of course, we're going to jump into the product itself, have a look at Sage Intelligence, run out some of the reports, build some reports in a couple different ways that if you've been attending some of the previous casts, you've probably seen, maybe so even in more detail. But this will just kind of give you a refresher and let you see again just how easy it is to use the solution and how much value it can bring to you and help streamlining your reporting, not only the information that you've got in Sage and in that database, but of course, if you have any external databases, we can always utilize Sage Intelligence as an analytic tool for that as well. And then, of course, we've got lots of resources out there for supporting you in using Sage Intelligence. Obviously, Tandem is a fantastic resource, and Bob as well. But there's a lot of self-help resources out there that I want to talk about too, just so you have an idea what they are, where they are, and what they contain. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead here and get started. And I'm just going to go through a couple of slides here too. Before we hop into the solution itself, really just want to, take a few minutes to talk about what business intelligence is and how important it is for you and the future of your business as part of a comprehensive BI tool for your solution. And this always brings to mind a quick story that I like to share that I think really hits home and how important it is to harness your data now before it is completely out of control. And two companies come to mind, Blockbuster and Netflix. Any movie lovers out there, I'm sure you've heard of both of them. Obviously, Blockbuster has been around for quite a bit longer than Netflix, but certainly Netflix has made a big splash in the marketplace. I know they're closing in on near 100 million subscribers, which is phenomenal. They obviously have an easy-to-use solution that everybody loves with these Blu-rays, DVDs showing up at your door, or streaming on your favorite mobile device. But when you stand back and look at both of these companies, there's really one glaring difference between the both of them. And that is that by the time Blockbuster realized that Netflix had been stealing away all their customers that they've worked so hard over the years to earn, and Blockbuster decided, boy, we better change our business model. They realized, you know what, it's too late. But Netflix already has too many of our customers, and they ended up filing for bankruptcy. So I think the thing to remind yourself of here is that you've got to believe that if Blockbuster had been doing a little bit more due diligence, analyzing the market, analyzing the data that they have on their competitors and what's going on around them, that they probably would have reacted to the penetration of Netflix a little earlier than they actually did. And as the great Lou Holtz once said, in this world, you're either growing or you're dying. So get in motion and grow. Now, you won't know unless you're growing or dying, unless you can see something in a format that you understand and in a timely manner that makes sense to you. And that's really what business intelligence is about, is putting things into context. So to get started, like I mentioned, it's all about putting data into context, but getting it out in a way that can make more informed, timely, strategic business decisions. So I've got a few examples of taking these numbers that you see here on your screen and putting them into context. So let's just say, for example, that these numbers were an increase in product SKU over the past 6 months. Immediately your brain starts working. You start thinking strategically. These numbers are going up over time, period over period. Maybe it tells me I need to stock more of an item because obviously something's happened that's increased my sales. But at the same time, I need to know what's happened that's increased my sales. Was there a new sales rep that came on board, a new promotion or marketing campaign driving these sales? I want to know more. I want to dig deeper into the details and find out why this has happened and ensure that I'm running my business optimally and that I'll be able to handle this increase in demand. Here's a second example. Perhaps this is a count of sales invoices entered over a 6-month promotional period. Maybe this promotion is working, or maybe it's not working. But what it does mean is that if these numbers we see here represent the volume of transactions over time, I might need to look at increasing my headcount to manage that transaction volume. What if this is just one promotional period and I've got several planned over the next few months? How is that going to affect my volume? A third example, maybe this is an increase in freight costs of my overseas suppliers for the last 6 purchases. So again, I start to think a little bit differently now. What are these costs representative of? Did the supplier use a different freight forwarding company? Did we have a different broker for importing the goods? Did they just increase their costs arbitrarily for some reason? Maybe this is a red flag and it's a time to find a new supplier and discuss our contract perhaps and see, hey, look, we've got an increase in volume. Maybe we can lower our costs based on this increase in business. And then lastly, maybe it's an increase in manufacturing output over a 6-week shift realignment. So I decide to adjust my shift scheduling to get optimal performance. And these numbers might represent the increase in production from that adjustment. So again, the numbers alone don't really tell the story or provide insight into the business. But when we put these numbers into context to make sense of the data we're capturing, it's really going to empower us to make better business decisions, operate more efficiently, and ultimately improve our bottom line. So I've got some statistics to back this up as well. And the first one I find very interesting in that 46% of small and medium-sized businesses recognize that they aren't using the data in their solution to make data-driven business decisions, which means they really don't even understand the impact of the decisions that they're making. They're just making educated guesses or about the future or decisions based on history or just shooting from the hip, if you will. Obviously not the most effective way to make decisions around how you want to run your business. Secondly, a third of managers that we surveyed say that they need more analysis to make better decisions. So not only are they not mining the information that they do have, but the little mining that they aren't doing isn't really enough to make the strategic business decisions that we need to make in the fast-paced business world that we live in today. And then finally, only 12%, folks, of businesses are able to assess their marketing influence on sales and pipeline. And if you sit back and look at the amount of dollars that companies spend to promote their product or services, probably one of the most important things they got to do, right? Nobody's buying their products or services, things aren't going to go well. So 12% of businesses are able to assess the marketing influence on sales and pipeline. So they really don't even understand the impact of the marketing dollars they're spending to promote that product or service. So if we can give you back 12% of the dollars that you're spending or give you a better understanding on how these dollars are affecting your business, that's something that's very important. And again, it's just further confirmation that even though we have the information at our fingertips, we're capturing it all in our solutions, but we're just not able to extract it in a timely manner and in a format that we can understand and allows us to analyze it properly, even for our specific role within the organization. Another fun fact here, this is a study that was done by a company called the IDG Group. It does a lot of research. And it was interesting, and it showed us that with improved data quality, data usability, accessibility, and intelligence, companies could expect a net gain of 35% in incremental revenue year over year. And that's just from having a better grasp on the data that you've already got at your fingertips. That's a pretty significant increase. And all we're saying is, look, if you have a better tool to analyze and extract the data and get it into a format that makes sense to you and your business, it's going to make you more effective and you're going to make better decisions and you're going to be better prepared to make these decisions at any point in time. So what is Sage Intelligence Reporting? And you probably already have a good idea what that is if you've attended any of these before, but it's very simple. Self-service business intelligence tool. It's built for small and mid-sized companies. It's really going to empower you to access and analyze your data in a familiar interface. Obviously, that's Excel in this case. So at the end of the day, we're making more informed decisions to help grow the business. The best part about this is it is integrated with all of our Sage solutions fully. So you might be on 300 now. If you ever decide to move to another Sage solution, whether it's 500, X3, 100, 50, any of them, Sage Intelligence is fully integrated with those, so all the time and effort that you spend in learning Sage Intelligence and building your reports there can easily translate. Some of the things that you may or may not be aware of with Sage Intelligence are the abilities to improve their collaboration with the peers and colleagues throughout your business. So obviously, it's not only important to be able to get the reports very quickly, but be able to distribute these reports. And we've got a number of different ways and flexible methods for distributing the reports, so everybody will get access to the information that they need very quickly to help pave the way for true collaboration amongst your business, ultimately going to result in some better decision making as well. Secondly, it's going to help you consolidate data. So for those of you with multiple company codes, obviously several divisions, departments, all of this can be consolidated into one report. In addition to that, as I mentioned earlier, any folks with programs or software or databases that aren't part of the Sage database, but may contain data that you want to have use or be able to use with Sage Intelligence, this can be done as well for any ODBC compliant database through our connector module. And then last, but certainly not least, the out-of-the-box value. So while we could have easily given you a blank canvas and a feather and some ink and said, go ahead and create whatever kind of report that you'd like, the world is yours, we wanted to give you a little something to work with. So we do have some out-of-the-box templates that are available for you to use. You can utilize these to get started. They may even have everything in there that you want. You don't have to do anything with them, or you can ignore them completely. It's really up to you, but they can be used as a building block. They can be modified from their existing out-of-the-box state. And we also have a great deal of report templates in our online community, which is one of the resources that you should lean on as you get up to speed in using Sage Intelligence, or if you have questions that you may not want to reach out to a partner for or whomever else, but you just want to kind of self-help. Maybe it's an odd hour and you're trying to get some reporting done late at night. You don't want to call anybody. Our online community can certainly help facilitate that. You can post a question on there and usually get an answer very quickly. I know a lot of partners, consultants, Sage employees, we all frequent the community, especially our BI team. So a lot of very knowledgeable people that may see that question and get back to you rather quickly. So to go a little bit further on Sage Intelligence, when we were building the solution, there was really three key things that we were focusing on, or key principles. And you see them on your screen here: control, time, and analysis. So one of the things that we wanted to be sure of, that we were giving our customers more control of their reporting, and it allows you to do that in several ways. We're going to talk about three of them. Number one, like we mentioned earlier, editing and viewing reports in a familiar interface, which is Excel. So everybody will have some type of familiarity with it, different skill sets probably, but there's ways around that, and we'll show you those. But also means, everybody will be able to use these reports with ease. It's not going to be a completely new interface, something you haven't seen before, touched before, that's going to be very daunting. It should be very comfortable for you. Secondly, all the reports are stored and run in a controlled and secure environment. So everybody that's looking at these reports will be looking at the same data. So you're not going to have two versions of the truth floating around trying to figure out which one was version 1, which one was version 2, so on. And then, was there a question? Okay. And lastly, we've got some drag and drop tools for financial report creation with our designer. It really helps easily build and edit financial reports with that designer add-in, with the drag and drop from a task pane that launches directly from within Excel. That'll help you easily build your financial reports, use reporting trees, formulas that are automatically built into the software, as well as a lot of other functionality that's part of that. Second, and in the center of our screen, is time. And everybody's looking for ways to save time and gain greater efficiencies. And we're going to do that through automating a lot of your redundant reporting processes. So if you think about how you're doing reporting today, there's a lot of manual work going on, and often manual data entry, exporting, importing, you name it. We want to automate a lot of these processes. Number one, we can run these reports at any time with live data, just the click of a button. So you have the best time, most up-to-date data each time you run the report. Again, you can automatically distribute these reports. You can schedule the running and distribution of these reports in conjunction with Windows Task Scheduler, so you don't even have to go in and manually run them. Nobody's time is well spent sitting here and running and sending out reports. There's obviously better things you can be doing to provide an impact to your business, as opposed to just running and sending reports to people. So we don't want you to do that. And then lastly, analysis. And that's really the whole premise around an intelligence reporting solution is making better decisions through better analysis of your data. And because Sage Intelligence can report on any module within the Sage database, as well as any ODBC compliant database, which we can bring data in from through our connector module, you'll really be able to see data from across your entire business. So you can truly visualize all your data, spot trends in your data, drill down into the data to see whatever it is you need to see, and most importantly, when you need to see it. Because in the fast-paced world that we live in the business today, every minute counts. So we don't want you to have to submit ad hoc IT requests and hope that you get the data back in a day or two, and then spend another day or a half a day formatting the data and compiling it all and adding in any calculations you want just so you can see it for whatever instance against whatever KPIs you're trying to measure or whatever the case may be. That's not an effective way or effective use of time, and by that time your competitors could be passing you by. So with that said, let's talk briefly about some of the standard reports that are here or available to us out of the box. There's a dashboard report, it's more of a one-page summary, obviously graphics, text, some key performance indicators on there, top 5 customers, items, expenses, comparative profit and loss figures. We'll run one of those out so you can see what it looks like in real life. Sales report, obviously sales-related information, quantity sold, dollars sold, cost of goods sold, gross profit amount, gross profit percentage, and more. Inventory-related report, for those with the inventory management module, has stock quantities, purchase and sales order quantities, average unit costs by item, recent costs, warehouse. Then we've got vendor-related reports for quantities purchased from different vendors that you may be working with, as well as average unit cost and total dollars purchased, or average days ordered by vendor and item. Then our financial reports. Sage Intelligence does have the ability to do financial and consolidated financial reporting. There are several layouts that are available to you out of the box. Comparative balance sheets, income statements for any financial year. These are all automatically generated, grouped, and subtotaled, and you do have the ability to drill down to a GL transaction level within these, and I'll show you how easy that is to do as well. Financial trend analysis reports, GL transaction detail report, and then lastly, our designer add-in templates, which are a little bit more dynamic out of the box, give you a little more flexibility as well with that designer add-in that launches from within Excel. It lets you drag and drop data into a report so you can create it on the fly, especially if you're more of an experienced Excel user, advanced Excel user, and you really want to do it all in Excel without doing it in another method like our layout generator. The designer is really easy to use, and even for those who aren't totally Excel experts, and not that you have to be an Excel expert, but it still makes things easier and eliminates the need to have to create any kind of fancy formulas. And you can even use them back and forth. Maybe use a layout generator for some of it, the designer add-in for some of the other portions, but it makes flipping back and forth between company codes very easy as well, just all from within that task pane. So very easy to use and work with. And with all that said, what we've all come here today for is to take a look at the solution. So what I want to do now is jump into Sage Intelligence so we can have a look at that and kind of go through some of the things that we've touched base on in the last two webcasts, just to bring out and bring things kind of full circle for us. So what you should be seeing on your screen here now is the Intelligence Report Manager, which, as you know, is really the main brain or main interface for working with Sage Intelligence. And that's where all of our report templates are housed within all of these folders. And obviously, you can create as many folders in here as you would like. So you can organize all your reports in a way that's simple and easy for you to find them. I'm sure over time you'll have created or modified several reports. Nobody wants to spend 15 minutes digging through all these folders to find whichever report they're looking for. So if you give yourself a good organization with the names of the reports and the structure of your folders in here, you'll be able to find them very easily and get to whatever it is you're looking for rather quickly. So one of the first things I want to do here is just talk about or run out one of these dashboard reports, and they're very simple to run out once they're created. This is one of the out-of-the-box templates that we have here, and you'll see one of the things that happens when I start to run this out. And this template is saved with some parameters, and it's always a good idea to add some parameters to your reports when you're running them out, because number one, if you've got too much data in the report, it's going to take take much longer for the report to run out, but more importantly, if you've got data in the report that's not even something that's going to be used for the analysis that you're doing, it's just cluttering your mind and it's cluttering your decision-making process. So rather than bringing in everything under the sun, only bring in the stuff that you need. So you can see there's 4 parameters it's requesting of us in this particular example. This is by no means the extent of the parameters that we have available for use within Sage Intelligence. These just happen to be the 4 that are part of this template. So I do have to populate these before I can actually run out the report. So I'm just going to go ahead here with our simple point and click and populate these particular parameters so we can get some data in a report for ourselves here. Very easy to do, and it is nice that if you do happen to be using a parameter that you're not as familiar with, it will provide you with a selection list so you can see what is available in the database. So if I click on these, you can see, for example, we have 2 different currency types available to choose from, a functional or customer. I'm going to pick with my functional currency here. And once I've populated all these, I can go ahead and continue the process of running out these reports. So most of the reports, and you'll see this if you haven't seen it already, are very quick to run out. So if you've been using a tool in the past where you've maybe come in the morning and you start running your reports and cross your fingers that they're done by lunchtime, you won't have that experience with Sage Intelligence, thankfully. Most of these reports do run out in a minute or so, mostly under a minute from the time that you hit populate all those parameters and hit go. So very, very good performance for the most part when you're working with Sage Intelligence. It does automatically launch and render the report in Excel for you, so there's nothing you have to do there other than sit back and wait for the report to finish running and then display in Excel for you. And here, like I said, we're looking at an example of our dashboard using my demo data. But you can see it's a pretty nice dashboard style report. Starts off with our profit and loss section. Shows our top 5 expenses, top 5 sales variance, as well as aging, and then our top 5 customers, and a variance here on the right-hand side. Now on the complete right-hand side, you can see we've got some nice graphs and charts depicting some of the similar information that we've seen on the left, but obviously in a graphical nature. A lot of times when you're trying to spot any kind of trends within the business, obviously looking at it in a graphical nature is going to be a little bit easier. Things may jump out at you a little more. So everybody's not always a fan of dashboards. I think they're great for showing a lot of high-level information, but there are going to be times when you are looking at something like a dashboard and something does jump out at you. Maybe you do see a spike or a trend that you want to learn a little bit more about. Well, with our dashboards, we do have the ability to drill down. So, for example, maybe I'm looking at my top 5 customer here, Acme Plumbing. We see that they've done $589,585 with us year to date. I want to know what makes up that number. So I can easily drill down on that from here. And this drill down process works the same in the financial reports as well. I can just highlight their name, right click, and select drill down. When I do that, I can drill down. You can see the drill down here. I just hit execute. It'll quickly query that database, bring in all the information that's behind Acme Plumbing there, and display it right here on my screen. So the first option is to display it right on the screen, and we do have some other options as well. But you can see, we can see exactly what made up that number. In this case, and this is a demo database, we have 1 transaction. So it's obviously a large transaction. We'll take them. Customer number, customer name, account group, contact, phone number, transaction type, document number, document date, what period, what year, what batch, what entry number, the amount on the invoice, the tax on that, the invoice amount, as well as whether or not the invoice was even paid. And then if there's any amount due, obviously that would be here. In this case, it was paid, so we don't have any amount due on there. So very easy to get to the drill down data. Now, if you don't want to just display it on the screen, maybe you weren't just taking a peek at it and you want to analyze it a little bit further, we do have the ability to push this into an Excel worksheet using data to Excel here in the top left corner. We can do that in a number of ways, with or without the headings, and into an active cell, an Excel book, a sheet, a current active cell, and just insert rows. Lots of different options here for getting that into Excel for further analysis. Maybe you wanted to take all 5 of these customers here and export them to Excel and try to see if there's some commonalities that exist amongst them. Maybe you can replicate the success you're having with those 5 customers across more of your customers and grow your business that way. Just one example of why you might push that to Excel and dig into it further. So obviously, you can modify these dashboards as well. If you've seen some of the previous webcasts, there's obviously data behind these in hidden sheets, which if you used Excel at all, you know that there's easy ways to unhide lots of sheets, just right-clicking on a tab, and you can look at all the different data that's within the sheets. So if you wanted to see top 10 customers or 10 customer groups or 20 or whatever, or you wanted to track different KPIs, you could modify one of these dashboards or build a dashboard on your own. One of the other things that you will see and probably have seen is the BI Tools tab, which is installed in Excel whenever you install Sage Intelligence. And there's a couple things that you'll find under the BI Tools tab. And what I want to talk about right now is the distribution settings and instructions. And these are tools that will help you streamline the collaboration with your peers and colleagues of all the reports that you do create. Distribution settings, probably not something you're going to spend a lot of time with. If you're not using Outlook for your email client, then you will have to go in here once just to enter in your email credentials. Once you've entered them in here once, it will save them. The beauty of using a Microsoft product here is if you are using Outlook, it'll automatically grab your Outlook profile and configure this to work for you. You don't have to go in here ever. So that's about the extent of the distribution settings. Now, manage instructions is where you can set up different groups that you might collaborate with. So maybe you've got a group of executives that you often send reports to, and you've got a group of sales operations people that you send report to, and maybe people in the warehouse that manage the inventory that you send reports to. Well, rather than having to, open up an email, run the report out, attach the report, add in all their names, and then send out this report, why not create a distribution instruction that does all that for you? So let's just create a simple one here, and we'll just say this is going to be my execs. I'll give it a name, hit OK, and you'll see that the first and default method for distribution, which pops up here, is email. No coincidence, this looks very much like sending out an email. Obviously, we want to put who we want to send it to. Do we want a carbon copy, blind carbon copy? What do we want as the subject? In the body of the email, what do you want to put in the body of the email? Obviously, you can put in there whatever you'd like, but one of the other cool things that we can do is utilize this little thing here we call the preview cell reference function. So let's just say, for example, I know that these executives are always looking at our gross profit and our net income, just picking out two random things. And we don't want those to be overlooked. Those are really the key things they're looking at. So I want to make sure they're not overlooked. I can reference the cells that are in the attached report. We'll say we're sending out this dashboard, and put the data that contains the gross profit and income before tax right into the body of the email. And when my recipient gets that email, they'll see that information right in the body of it. So they don't have to open the attached report, download it, and open it. They can look at the email, see that gross profit, that income before tax, and then maybe there's somebody that travels a lot or looks at this on a mobile device, and they don't always have the time or bandwidth to download the attached report, but you don't want those key details to be overlooked. This is a great time to use that. That way they can see that information, and then when they get to wherever they are or somewhere they have the time and bandwidth to download the attached report, they can still see all the details they need, but at the same time, the information that they're, you don't want to be overlooked is right there in the body of the email for them. Now, that's just one example of, I'm sure there's a number of ways that our customers are using the preview cell reference function. That's just one that comes to mind that I wanted to point out to you. One of the other things that I'll point out is format. So obviously, the reports can be sent out in Excel. They're generated in Excel by default. But if you don't want to send them out in Excel, we can also send them out in HTML or PDF file. So, maybe PDF seems to be a common one today. Folks don't like to send them out in Excel for fear that somebody might delete a row, a column, a line, although you can password protect them and save that as part of the template as well. So it might be a good idea if you're sending out financials to password protect them so that, God forbid, something gets intercepted, it's not just floating around unprotected. But lots of different formats, and all the formats you see here, Excel, HTML, and PDF, are available across all the distribution methods. So the second distribution method we have here is file publishing. So if you don't prefer to email reports out, or maybe you have a different collaboration tool that you use in your business, like SharePoint or Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive, something along those lines, file publishing can help facilitate pushing a report that you run out to any of those types of file folders. Very simple to use. Again, just enable it, browse out to wherever this folder is that you want to push this to. Maybe it's on the network somewhere. Maybe you have a folder that syncs to Dropbox or something. Point it to the folder, pick the format, and when you run it out, it'll automatically push it to that location. Now, you do have to keep in mind, though, if you're pushing it out to a SharePoint folder, say, for example, anybody that has access to that SharePoint folder is going to be able to access that report. So, make sure you have your permissions set accordingly. And then last and certainly not least is FTP, or File Transfer Protocol, for those of you who aren't familiar with the acronym. Another method for sending out reports. Not quite as common as it was at one point in time, but there still are quite a bit of people that are using FTP servers. If you want to push a report to an FTP server, obviously we need to enter in our server name and credentials, pick our formats, of course, but once we do that, that'll be saved in there as well, and we'll be able to use that whenever we'd like to use that for distributing reports. So at the end of the day, you've got a lot of ways that you can distribute reports and share them with the folks that need them in your organization, all very easily done, and it really helps streamline the process, keeping you from having to do things the long, hard way. So I'm going to just jump out of the distribution settings and out of our report here for the time being, and take a look at some of our other reports that we have here. So let's take a look at a sales report here. So we'll go down here to our sales folder and maybe run out our sales master report. So another report that is available to us out of the box, again, does request some parameters here. So I just got to go ahead here and populate these for us, so that we can get some data in our report. And our demo data is in the future. So we're going to fast forward to 2019 here and pull in some data for our sales report. So I'll just populate those parameters there quickly and then execute the running of the report. Goes through the same process as always, does all your calculations, your formatting, pulls in all the data, compiles any charts, graphs, etc., automatically launches Excel for us and displays that report right in Excel. So again, one of the things you might have noticed too is it always, all the reports have a little home tab on them, if you will, that links out to a lot of helpful information around using the reports and Sage Intelligence, whether it's contacting support, going to our SI online community, our blog, knowledge-based articles for different questions people may have stumbled across previously, as well as our YouTube channel, which is a fantastic resource, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But getting back into the report itself, here's our Sales Master AR report, and you can see the beauty of using Excel is it's a very powerful tool, and we can take advantage of some of the out-of-the-box functionality that Excel has. So remember that we're not limiting or taking away any Excel functionality from you with Sage Intelligence. Anything that you could do in Excel by itself, you can still do with Sage Intelligence and save as part of your template. We're just building some additional tools around that to help streamline and make things easier for you. So we've got some filters here at the top for salesperson, category, commodity name, distribution name, document type. Obviously, we could select whatever one of these we'd like and filter down our report for just a particular sales rep if we wanted, or maybe just a couple sales reps. Maybe you've got a sales manager that has 4 or 5 reps underneath him, and you want to select more than one person. We can pick whatever ones we like here and filter it out just for those salespeople. Obviously, you can see what's in here in each of these headers: the customer number and name, item numbers, invoice descriptions, unit of measure, quantities, cost of goods sold, sales amount, gross profit, profit percentage, adjustment amount, discount amount. And we've got a totals at the bottom too, so we can see exactly where we stand at the end of the day. But very easy to use. Again, you could modify this. You can add in your graph, your company logo. Maybe there's additional fields that you want to bring into this. Again, hidden tabs exist in here. In our sheet 1, you can see all the information related to each of these orders that are in each of these, in this sheet. Lots of information here, much more than we are actually displaying on the report. So, there might be something more that you want to see in there that's already in here. Very easy to bring that in too. So just one more example of some of the reports that are here out of the box that you can use, without very, very little work and get started very easily. So I'm going to jump out of that one here, and let's take a look at some of our financial reports. So let's close our some of these folders here so we can see a little easier what we're trying to do. Let me run out our financial report designer workbook here. So again, I just need to select some parameters here, and I can pick 1 year, several years. I'm just going to select them all in case we want to do any multi-year reporting here. We're bringing in all the data. Again, it just takes a minute or so to pull in all this information, do any calculations that it needs to do, any formatting that's saved as part of that template. Again, one of the nice things about Sage Intelligence is the way we use these templates. There's no proprietary data stored in them. And the reason that we do that, or one of the nice things about that, is it gives us the ability to share these templates. So the one resource that I have been talking about where you can get information around Sage Intelligence, post questions, one of the other things you can get from that site, and I'll show you a little cool tool that we have that works with that as well, are free report templates. So from time to time, Sage will develop new report templates and post them there. So rather than recreating the wheel, there's a lot of common challenges a lot of business faces. Somebody may have already created a template and posted it there, or Sage may have created one and posted it there. So great place to look and see if there's already a template that accomplishes the end result that you're looking for, rather than spending your own time and building your own template. Or it may not be exactly what you're looking for, but it might have 90 or 75% of the stuff that you're looking for. You might just be able to build off of that. So, a great place to go, once again, for lots of information. So here we are in our financial designer report designer workbook. You can see the designer add-in here on the right-hand side, which has our lists, formulas, trees, and we'll talk a little bit more how we use those in a few minutes. But what we also have here, again, is our BI Tools tab. Under our BI Tools tab, you can see not only these distribution settings and instructions that we were talking about earlier when it comes to distributing the reports, but we've also got the ability to select instructions that we've previously created. I deleted the one that I created, so it's going to tell me I don't have any in there. Or if I'm just doing an ad hoc report, a one-off, somebody has some, certain report they requested, I can create it and then just go, boom, send now, and shoot that report right out very easily. I don't have to go to my email and attach it and do all that stuff. I can do it right from in here in Excel with Sage Intelligence running. But where I want to go here now is obviously under this BI Tools tab, and we'll just go to Quick Generate. When I click on that, you can see I can quickly generate automatically a balance sheet or a couple different income statements here. And I don't have to do anything other than choose which one that I want to see here. So we'll just say actual versus budget. So I'll click that, and you'll see that it starts to generate the layout. And it's going to pull this in from the instructions that are saved as part of that template. Automatically create this, do all the totals, calculations, formats, all the stuff that you would expect to be as part of your report as you've got it ready to distribute to somebody, but without you having to do it all over and over again and get the most updated and accurate information here. So I'll quickly just move some of these columns over so we can see a little bit more here. But you can see here's a look at our income statement, actual versus budget. You can see we've got some groupings on the left-hand side. If I want to expand my revenue category or contract it, see less detail, I've got the ability to do that right out of the box with this particular report. And it takes us all the way out here, so I can go in and modify these reports very easily as well. But you can see I've got the company code here, the fiscal year, currency type. These are just some of the headers that are part of this particular report. Now I could also go back up here to manage layouts. And I get into manage layouts, and maybe I want to run out a different report. So I don't have to go to quick generate. I can go to manage layouts and run out a report through our layout generator. So let's say I just want to run out my, we'll do actual versus prior. We'll just hit generate here. And again, it'll go through that same process and open up another worksheet in the same workbook, and it'll generate my income statement, actual versus prior. And as soon as it's done here, we can take a look at this income statement again. You can see the look and feel of it is pretty consistent with the other reports that we have in here. Very clean and clear. We can see exactly what we're looking for. Again, we can expand on any of these categories if we want to see more or less information. That's just standard Excel functionality, so nothing too glamorous there. Um, but maybe I want to edit this. Maybe there's something that I don't like here. Maybe I don't want to. I don't need to see all this grouping detail, and so rather than having it in there, I want to edit that. So I can go into Quick Edit, and I'm on my income statement, actual versus prior. So I'll pick that one. I'll go in here, and it takes us into our layout generator. And we can expand this to full screen, so it makes it easier. And obviously I've got all my columns up at the top here and my rows along the left-hand side, and I can move these around as I'd like. Just by dragging or dropping, or right-click on any of these, it will remove that field or spacer from that row or column. So very easy to adjust your layout in that regard. You can see here, it's obviously showing what I had in my headers on the report itself: the company code, the year, currency type. I had no structure code or budget code or report tree unit. So you can see, though, I do have checked in here, show account detail. That was that grouping detail that we had in there. So maybe I don't want to see that. So I can just uncheck that. Maybe I want to show some totals at the bottom. So I can just uncheck those two things, hit generate again, and it'll modify that report for me. Open up another worksheet, give it a little 2 on there so we know it's the second one, not the first one that we ran out. And you'll see that once it's done successfully, now I don't have all of those groupings that were in here before. It ran out much more quickly because it didn't have to pull in all that information. So that quickly and that easily, you're able to, modify the report. Maybe I want to edit that one again. I can change the year on here. I can click on this magnifying glass. It gives me a list of which years do I want to pick. I'm just going to pick 2019. Take off my subtotals and hit generate again. And it'll just take a few minutes again to generate that layout. And now I'm looking for 2019 here at my SAM Ltd company, my functional currency. But again, same layout. So very easy to modify the reports. The same way I'm modifying, just the year or the additional information. I could bring in additional fields as well. Maybe I want to drill down on something in here. So, maybe I want to see what this revenue is made up of. I can right-click on that, hit drill down. It'll go out into the database and take me right into that drill down information. I don't have to go run another report, dig around anywhere on the GL side or in the ERP itself. I can stick right here in Sage Intelligence, drill down on that information, and get into the details very quickly. So that's nice to have right at your fingertips as well. So I'm going to just close some of these tabs that I've got here so we don't get too many open and confuse ourselves or take up too much screen real estate for our demonstration here. And actually, I'll just close them all, make life easy on ourselves. And let me go back to my BI Tools tab, and let's build a new report here. So first thing I want to do with the layout generator to start a new report layout is give it a name. Right? I need to know what this report is, so when I go to run it in the future, I can easily identify it. So we'll just say this is my income statement actual. And now again, I'm back in my layout generator. What do I want to do to design this report? So obviously I need to have a company in here. I'll pick a company. I need to have a fiscal year again as well. I'll pick a fiscal year here. All point and click, as you can see. I need to have a currency. What currency do I want? We'll stick with our Canadian dollar here. Currency type. Which types do we have available? Well, let's go with our functional currency. Do I want to show account detail? Do I want those groupings? Or let's say I don't want them, but I want to see some subtotals at the bottom. Or do I just want, to see without subtotals at the bottom? We'll leave it out of there for that matter. So let's go over here now to our text columns. So here's 2 text columns. I'll add in my account and my row description here. so I can have those easily shown here. And then I can go to my columns. What other columns do I want to see in here? I want to see my actual 01. I want to see, what else do I want to see in here? I can pick any of these actual year-to-date 01. We'll just add in those two for our purposes here. Now we can see what kind of calculations. Here's all kinds of calculations that are automatically in here for you. You can also add a custom calculation here using the calculator. There's different formulas that are already in here that you can use from, or you can create your own and save them in here. So what kind of rows do we want to see on our report, the income statement we're doing? I can click in here or click on our magnifying glass. We've got a couple row sets that are previously built for you for income statements or balance sheets. So if I click on income statement, you can see the different account rows or calculated rows that I can choose from here. So let's pick a few. Let's take our revenue in here, our cost of sales, and then let's take our calculated rows. Let's do gross profit in here. And another account row, let's do maybe other revenue in here, and a calculated row and do total income, and then other expenses, and then net profit. Let's add a bunch of spacers in here. And then we can just keep organizing this report however we want to see it laid out. One more spacer in here. Yeah, there we go. So let's just say we've got our report all set up the way that we want it. Obviously, we can save the layout, but maybe we just want to generate it first to see if it looks the way that we want it in case we want to come back in and edit that. So I'll just go ahead here now and hit generate. It'll go through that same process, just like we saw earlier with some of our other reports, only obviously with our own layout that we just created there. So there it is. There's the report that we generated. You can see how easy that was to do. I didn't have to know any Excel formulas, any Excel knowledge really at all, just picking the fields, columns, rows, calculations that I want to have in there, and automatically generate that layout and create that report for myself. So very, very simple to do, very easy to do. No real science to it, if you will. You can see how easy and quick you could get up and running in Sage Intelligence. Maybe you've got a set of reports that you're comfortable with, and you're fearful that it's going to take you a long time to get all your reports reset up in here. Really, it doesn't take that long. It's very easy to use, and you've got a lot of tools that are here to get you started and running very quickly with Sage Intelligence. So not a lot of time needs to be spent to move over to this. Now, we show the layout generator and how you can create a report with that. Obviously, mostly in a graphical user interface style of report creation. If you're more of an Excel guru and prefer to just put in your own formulas and work with this task pane on the right-hand side, we can create reports that way as well. So to do that, I can just add another worksheet in here, and I can start creating my report. We'll just start giving it some headers. We'll say company, year, period, currency. I'll just leave it at that. And this is going to be my, we'll say this is my SAM LTD for 2019. So period 5, Canadian dollars. And then we can start building out this report further. So what do I want to have in my report? All that can come from my task pane on the right-hand side here. Let me open this up a little more. I've got layouts, which I can automatically generate from here. These are the same ones that we saw there. Or I've got my lists. I'm going to start with my lists. Right here, I could select different company codes. You can see select GL company. I just have one in my demo database. For those of you that have several, they would all be listed here. So it would just be a matter of selecting which company code you want these lists and formulas to pertain to, and then dragging in that particular information. So that's that easy to flip-flop between companies, drag several companies of information into the same worksheet, and do your reporting that way as well. So you don't have to go back out to the ERP and enter another company. All that can be done directly from within Sage Intelligence. So obviously I'm working with SAM Limited today, and I'm going to go ahead and just drag in my account groups. So I'll drag that on the screen here. You can see it populates all this automatically. Maybe I want all this information, maybe I don't. I don't necessarily want all the information that I got in here today, so I'm going to delete some of this stuff. I'm going to delete these rows here. This won't affect anything. Delete them, and then continue building out a report here. So now we've got a little starting of a report here, and we can continue building that report out for ourselves here. So we'll just give this column a header, and we'll say equals B2, and equals B3, and we'll just do some formatting on here real quick. And now we've got a little header, so we know this is 2019 period 5 right above our data that we're going to bring in here. Now what do we want to bring in? Do we want to bring in, go to our formulas on the right-hand side here. Here's a list of formulas that are available to us out of the box. Lots of different ones to choose from, and we can drag and drop any of these onto the report, and the data will populate. So let's drag over our actuals. So there's my actual formula. You can see it at the top there in the formula bar, which I can go into now and do a little cell anchoring. So let's go to our function argument window here. First thing I want to point this at is my company code. Which company code do I want to work with? And what year am I working with? And which period am I working with? And my account group code I know is here, and I want that to be consistent, so I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit OK. And just drag that down, and I've got my formulas for all, or my values for my revenue, cost of sales, and my other revenue. Now, maybe I want to see, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Down one. Maybe I want to see my, gross profit in here. So let's just add another line. Go over here and just say equal. And I've got my gross profit, and the revenues do come in from the ERP as negative, so we'll just put a little minus sign here after the equal sign and fix that. And then real quickly we can do a little formatting if we want to see our report. And obviously we could just continue building this out, if I wanted to add in several periods, or if I want to look at a different period here, because I've done some cell anchoring here, I can just enter a different period here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 2, whatever I want to see. I could change the years here as well, and period, and go back and forth between them. So again, just one report, I can go from different years, different companies, different periods, and I can continue to build this out as big as I want. I can add in charts, graphs, pivots, you name it. Any type of thing you want to have as part of your report, anything you can build in Excel can be saved as part of that template, which brings me to my next point. Let's just say, for example, this is the report that I want. This is what I want this report to look like every time I run it out. I know it's pretty basic, but the one thing and probably the biggest frustration that people have with Sage Intelligence is they're so used to using Excel by itself that they're used to going up here and hitting the save button. And that's a good habit to have, especially when you're using Excel by itself. But if you do that with Sage Intelligence, all it's going to do is save that as a workbook, either on your desktop or wherever you frequently save things. But in order for us to reproduce this report with that same layout, look, and feel with updated data, we need to save and link this as a template. Okay, so to do that, we need to jump back into our report manager. Always easy to find. It's the R in the bottom ribbon bar. I get back into my report manager. You can easily see which report it was that you ran out. It's grayed out before I clicked on it. It might not be easy to see over the web today, but in real life, it's very simple to see. So when I highlight that, you'll see that I can go up in the ribbon bar and it doesn't say Save Excel Template, and that's because this is a locked out-of-the-box template. Now, if I want to unlock that and be able to save my changes, I need to make a copy of it. So to copy, I can just go up here after I highlight it, hit copy, and then I can paste a copy of that template somewhere. So where do I want to put it? Well, I've got a little folder I created here called Mike's Reports. I want to put it in there, so I can just highlight it, hit paste, and then it wants me to give this a new name. So I'll just call this Tandem's Copy of Financial Report Designer. I'll hit OK. It's going to put a copy of that template in my Mike's Reports folder. So if I go into this Mike's Report, there we go. So if I go in here now, here's my copy of the Financial Report Designer. The difference is now this is unlocked. So I can save and link that template or this report as a template so that I can reproduce it with a click of a button with updated data, with the same formatting, anything I would want to have as part of that template. So I go up here, I hit Save Excel Template. What it gives me here is a window, and I can see any open Excel workbook on my machine. Now, in my case, I've only got one open, so it makes my selection very simple. I highlight it, I hit OK. It gives me one last chance. If I want to change the name of that template again, I can do so. I've already done that, so I'm going to hit OK and leave it as is. And now it's letting me know that it already exists. Do I want to replace it? I'm going to hit yes. I want to overwrite that template with all my changes. It goes through the process to save and link that template. When it's done, it will give me a little pop-up and say, hey, we've successfully created and linked the report. So I know it was done correctly and successfully. And now, just to show you, I can go here and highlight that report where I linked my template to, run this thing out. It'll just ask me again for the years because I did select them when I built that template. And then it will automatically populate that template, and you'll see it's just the way that it was before we saved and linked it. And obviously, if there were any changes to our revenues, gross profit, cost of sales, etc., they would be reflected in the rerunning of this report. I haven't gone back and changed anything, so it will give us the same numbers again. But if you ran it in the morning and ran it in the evening and you had things posted and whatnot, obviously your data would change. So just take a few seconds to run this out. Obviously, automatically launch Excel and display it on my screen. And then I can go ahead and peruse the report. I can continue to modify it, add to it, do whatever I want to do with that report. Maybe I just want to send it out to somebody. I can do that too. One of the things that I did mention earlier is we do have the ability to send out these reports and schedule the running of these reports. So, maybe that your executives want to have these reports in their inbox when they get in every morning. They get in at 7:30. Well, we can schedule this report to run and distribute every morning at 7:30 to that group that we've called execs. So here's the report. It just ran out and generated, as you saw there while I was talking, just the way that we left it. Obviously, like I said, if any of the figures had changed on the other side or in the ERP itself, they would be reflected in the running of this report. Just going to minimize this quickly so I can go back in here. And as I was saying, if I wanted to schedule the running of this report, this is done in conjunction with Windows Task Scheduler. For those of you that haven't used it, it's a native part of Windows operating system, so it's nothing that you have to purchase. And probably the biggest gripe with Windows Task Scheduler and scheduling a task in there was figuring out the command to launch the process. Well, I'm happy to say that we've taken the guesswork out of that and the frustration away for you. And I can just simply right-click on this report if it's the one I want to run. You can see an option here, Generate Scheduler Command. If I click on that and I select the years that I want here, I'm going to select them all again. There we go. See that long string of characters here? This is the scheduler command, which you would have to figure out on your own if we weren't using Sage Intelligence, but we've done that for you. It automatically puts that in your clipboard like you would Control-C or copy. So you can open up Task Scheduler, which if you're not sure how to find it, you can go to your Start menu and type in Task Scheduler. And see, all I had to type in was Task, and it popped up here. So I could launch that, paste the command in there, select when I want this report to run, when I want this process to fire off that's going to run the report and distribute the report. That could be every day. It could be twice a day. It could be every other day. It could be once a month, on the 30th of every month. It could be the first of the following month for the previous month. Whatever you want to set it up as, you can do that within this task scheduler, and all that will happen for you in the background. So at the end of the day, you could have your reports distributing automatically for you, going out to the people that need them, no longer spending the time calculating, compiling, exporting, importing, building all these reports. It's all being done automated, transparent in the background. The only way you know that something doesn't happen is if you see a task doesn't go off or someone emails you and say, hey, I didn't get my report today. Well, then maybe something didn't happen. Maybe your power went out when that task was supposed to go off. Your machine would have to be on for that task to happen. There could be a couple things that could stop that from happening, but for the most part, it'll run out. It'll run out every time. So, with that said, and that was a lot of stuff over the past several minutes, I want to jump right back into my presentation here real quickly, just to highlight some of these resources that we have for you. Like I mentioned a few times, the intelligence community, and we've got about 35,000 users of Sage Intelligence across North America and Europe, so there's always somebody online. Crosses a lot of time zones, so it's always a quick place to get questions if you post them in the forum on there. There's a specific one for Sage 300 as well, so always want to try and make sure you're in the right forum, because the intelligence products are, for the most part, pretty similar, but there are some differences, just like there are with the ERP itself. There's also lots of links on the intelligence community out to our YouTube channel. That's where we can find some report templates, as well as links out to a lot of other stuff that can be helpful, our blog, etc. So our second thing that I'd like to talk about is our blog. We update it weekly. You can subscribe to it, different tips and tricks for using Sage Intelligence. You do get one email a week, and I tested it myself. I'm subscribed to it, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't lying to people, and it is only one email a week. So if you do subscribe to it, we won't fill your inbox with lots of stuff you don't want. The YouTube channel. Unlike some YouTube channels, ours is updated frequently, but not only that, we have it broken down into segmented videos. So if you're looking on how to build an income statement, or how to build a consolidated financial report, or how to build a connection to a third-party database or somewhere else within the Sage database, there's videos on there that tell you exactly how to do that, step you through it. You can play it in one monitor, look at it in the other. If you have one monitor, split the screen, however you want to do it. Maybe write down the processes. We've also got a lot of PDFs that walk through these processes. If you're coming from another solution, maybe you're using FRX, we do have a documented process on how to convert FRX reports to Sage Intelligence reports. So if you've got a good layout, look and feel of reports that you like, but you're concerned about the discontinuation of support for FRX, you want to get into something else before it stops working, probably a good idea. You don't have to start from scratch. You can convert those FRX reports to Sage Intelligence reports, and there's a path and migration process in place. Sage University. Obviously, training is always a good thing. The more knowledgeable you are in the product, the more benefit and value you're going to get from it. Sage University has curriculum from beginner to certification. If you're a gold support menu, you also have access to unlimited anytime learning, which is at your own pace, on your own schedule, no interaction with an instructor. We do also have traditional classroom style environment training, as well as webcasts that are led by a live instructor where you do have interaction. So lots of different flavors and styles for depending on your learning style and which works best for you. But there's curriculum for everyone there. And before I wrap up, there is one other thing that I did want to show you. And so let me see if I can get to that. So one thing that we haven't launched yet, but we will be launching soon, is our Sage Intelligence Report Utility. And what that does for you is, as I said, we do provide a lot of reports on the online community that you can download and import into your Sage Intelligence Report Manager. And we've had a lot of feedback from our customers, which we continually solicit on ways to improve the program. And one of them was that importing these reports wasn't as easy, or there's some things that could be missed along the way that could make these reports not run. So we developed this report utility that give you the ability to automatically do all that for you. You can take a look at which reports are out there, which you can see them all here in this listing. So it'll not only make sure that you only download the reports that are applicable to your particular ERP, but not only that, it'll automatically import them and set them up and create a folder for you in the report manager that contains them. So it takes all the guesswork and uncertainty out of it for you, especially if you're not necessarily a computer savvy person and this kind of stuff scares you, downloading and importing and configuring. This takes the guesswork out of it for you. You just pick the report you want, import it, and it puts it right into your report manager. So when you go back into that report manager, whoops, where am I? You'll have a folder called New Reports, and you can see very easily in here the list of all the reports that I've imported from the online community. So I can then just simply run them out and use them however I want, or I can delete the ones that I don't want just by simply right-clicking on them and deleting them. So I think we are just about out of time here, but what I do want to do is thank you once again for taking the time out of your busy days. I know you've got a lot of other things you could be doing. We appreciate you taking the time to sit through this with us. Certainly, if you've got any questions, Tandem is a fantastic resource and a place to turn. You probably already have them on speed dial, but you can also reach out to me as well. We work closely together, so we share information back and forth and help each other out wherever we can. We'd be more than happy to do that for you. So with that said, if there's any questions, I'll try to answer them now. Or if I don't know the answer, I'll get it for you. And I don't know if Linda or is on the line as well, if you've got anything you want to say.
I think we're going to go ahead, Michael, at this time. We'll go ahead and turn off the recording.